Hello, hello, thanks for stopping by. This is Bruce Lee for the Commodore 64, published by Datasoft in 1984. I was a kid when this game first came out, and I remember this game was actually fairly popular. It used to show up in video game magazine advertisements all the time. This, of course, was way back when there were actual magazines you could buy off a rack. We're talking dozens upon dozens of different publications for all different types of computers, very different than what we have today. Anyway, this was a game that showed up on multiple 8-bit home computers of that era. We're talking the Commodore 64, all those different Atari machines, the Amstrad, ZX Spectrum, machines like that. In this game, you play Bruce Lee, just like the title says. And if you look at the avatar that's running around, yeah, I see that as Bruce Lee, sure. Black pants and gloves. Yep, I'm on board. So, in this game, you are in a wizard's tower, and you are searching to claim infinite wealth and immortality. The basics. There are a bunch of different screens that come along with this game, which is really nice. I know a lot of games of this era only managed one screen of gameplay, but this one has more than 20, I believe. That is not a lot by today's standards, of course, but back in the day when this was out, just having a simple variety of multiple screens like that was great. You can also go back and forth through multiple screens over and over again. Your job here is to run around the wizard's tower like a total hero collecting lanterns. When you get all the lanterns, a door is going to open up and the next area is going to be available to you, and you run through. As you're running around doing your thing, you're going to be pursued by two enemies. Now remember, we're talking 8-bit era, so just two other sprites on the screen, that's not abnormal. So we get two. We've got a ninja. That's this avatar that's all in black, running around after you with some sort of a stick. Hey, this is the mid-80s ninjas we're talking about here. This is absolutely on par with the time. For those that were unaware, in the United States, ninjas were a big deal for kids in the 80s. I was there. It was a thing. You also get this big green guy that comes out running after you. This is Green Yamo. I kind of think of him like a cross between E. Honda and Blanca from Street Fighter 2. That's what I see anyway. He's just this big kind of fat guy that punches and kicks you. This brings us to you. You're Bruce Lee, master of Jeet Kune Do. We're talking the slender badass of badasses. You're the guy they send to get the worst bad guys, right? So you have skills. Well, in this game, 3 skills to be specific, if you don't count running and jumping. You can punch, you can duck, and you can launch into this super fly jump kick. This is all I want to do now. Now, when you're a little kid playing a game like this, your first inclination is probably to run over and beat the crap out of the ninja in Yamo. But honestly, it probably isn't the best use of your time. If you beat the ninja, or Green Yamo, they're just going to respawn and come after you again, so it's never ending. Why bother? It's probably best to only fight these two when you're forced to. Yeah, I know, using that sweet jump kick is fun and all, but the goal here isn't really to wipe out your enemies. It's to get the damn lanterns and move on. I guess this kind of brings us to strategy of this game. Your focus really should be on the puzzle of the screen that you're on. Where are the lanterns located? How are the levels positioned? Where are the ladders you climb? And in relation to all this, of course, when the enemies show up, where are they exactly? So when you first enter a screen, the enemies aren't going to be there, so get moving. Grab as many lanterns as you can before they show up, and then make an assessment of the screen when they do show up, and figure out the safest place for you to go. You're going to want to use the climbing areas to get away from danger, of course, and if you can't get to a lantern directly because it's, blocked by the ninja or Yamo, you can go back to the prior screen sometimes, and that'll sort of reset things. There's nothing saying that you have to clear an entire level of lanterns in one swoop. Just go back and forth and use that delay of the enemies arriving to your advantage. I'm willing to bet that playing this game as a kid, I would have got myself stuck on trying to kill all the ninja. But really, this one is more of a puzzle platformer than a fighter. When you collect all the lanterns, a door is going to open up and you can move on to the next area. And that's going to end up looking different somehow. It's going to be a different design, it's going to have different colors, and you're probably going to have to start worrying about traps too. You're going to find spikes, you're going to find electricity, you're going to find, different things to affect your ability to get through the game easily. The difficulty just increases, and this is kind of what you'd expect, really. the first level overall, it's not that difficult to run around and jump into these lanterns for the most part, but as soon as you get to the second level and you're going to run into spikes and electricity, stuff like that, you're going to have to worry more about timing your jumps and paying attention to where you can fall just to stay safe. I've been playing this one a bit, and I have to say, I think they managed a pretty decent platformer with this one. Now, you're using a joystick that only has one button with the Commodore 64, but I'm not feeling like there are a ton of game elements missing. You run and dodge mostly, but you do have an offensive button in a pinch. I think it works pretty good. It's certainly not an easy game, and according to some of the run-throughs that I've seen online from other players, the timing elements to the game increase in difficulty as you go. I can also see that there are clearly some skilled Bruce Lee players out there. Kudos to them. Playing this one too, I can't help but be reminded of the Goonies game that came up on the 8-bit systems back in the 80s. I mean, there wasn't any fighting in those games in particular, but the running around platforming part of the equation, I don't know, it feels kind of similar to this one. You're always trying to find a way forward, and figure out how to manipulate what's going on the screen, just to make it through the various traps along the way. Well, that's all I have today for Bruce Lee for the Commodore 64. This is a pretty decent platformer, honestly. If this video is your type of thing, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. Hope to catch you on another video.